Hey everybody, this is the Art of Sound. Thank you for joining me. Today's topic is building my own drum kit, and we're going to be working out of the Maschine studio. I have a white one. I love it. Anyway, basically what I wanted to show you guys was how I build my drum sounds. I do a lot of drum design inside of Maschine studio. I'll stack kicks, I'll stack snares. I won't necessarily do that to hi-hats, but there's been one instance where I did that before. But in this particular demonstration, I'll be showing you, how to put the stuff together, how to make them link together, hitting several pads at one time, making one pad the master, and then the other is the slave to trigger them. And as well as I'll show you pattern setups, drum patterns, if you will, and the different things. Because Maschine Studio is more so it's a build of scenes and patterns. That's really the gist of Maschine. If you can understand that and wrap your mind around that, you'll be okay. It's essentially how you build your song. You got an intro, verse, chorus, whatever, bridge, whatever. You have the scenes that correspond to those different sections of the song. So let's get to it. I've already preloaded some sounds. If you can see that, I have this is a 808. This is a 909. This is the first 909. This is 909 number 9. And this is the name of it is Kick About Time, but it's more like an acoustic. Really lightweight. Okay. Those are my snares. And those are the hi-hats that I chose. So the first thing is going to the pad mode to set up the linking system. Okay, so I got the first kick. Now, like I said, inside of the pad mode, you want to go up to your left screen and make sure you're in the link section. This is the group and this is the mode. So I'm going to turn on the first link to group 1, and I want it to be master. So okay, now this one, group 1, I'm going to make it slave. All right, this one, group 1, I want everything in this corresponding link or group so it can affect just that group. I'm going to also make this a slave, group 1. So I have all of these kicks right here being triggered by this one. Okay. Now, I was playing with this earlier and I got it to sound like I wanted to, but just to show you how the mixing feature that was added on the studio, how it is fantastic, and this is the reason why. One of the reasons why. Well, I used to have to go to each sound and go and try to tweak it inside of this small springs, whatever. But now I can just hit the master and just go in and move up and down the volumes on the fly. Say, let's make, you know what I mean? I can just do it like that just by hitting the master kick instead of going up and down the pads, whatever, which is pretty awesome. Now let's do the same for the snare. We're gonna go back to our pad mode, and for this one, we're gonna make the link group 2, and obviously it's gonna be master. Now this group 2, make this a slave, and also for this one, make this a slave in group 2 as well. So now, from this one pad right here, I'm triggering all 3 all together. And all 3 of these here, which is my hats, I won't necessarily group those because I want to do something different with that. So let's build a quick loop. let's undo that. That did not come out the way I wanted it to. Let's make it 2 bars. Okay, so I just built a 2-bar loop. At first, I don't know what happened, but I built a 2-bar loop instead and got everything to work like I need to, which is cool. Now, let me show you how the pattern works. Now, well, first, before I show you, let me show you my screen and show you what I just did. Look what it looks like on the screen. So basically, what we did was we added a pattern for the kick, a pattern for the snare, and then we have the hats and the other things going on right here, right? Now, what you will notice is the first kick has the pattern that we programmed in there for the kick. But what about these two? Well, the rest of the three, you know? And the reason being is because all I did was I made my first kick the master, and it's actually triggering the rest of them. So you're not necessarily bringing in a pattern that you can see in front of you. You know, you're going to see that on the channel that you're actually programming it to. Same for the snare. This is a snare, and these are the other two that we're using clearly because you see me do it, but it doesn't reflect on these other two channels. All right, so just so you guys know that, and you come back and you're looking like, oh, there's nothing there, and you might accidentally change a sound or something like that, and you know, just so you guys are aware. So, you know, wanted to show you guys that that's something to look out for. So moving into the patterns and building the song, I did a video before about this, but I had a guest on my show earlier asking how to do it, so I have no problem with showing how that's being done. So basically, if you can see if you can, you know, see what's going on here. The first thing is, like I say, the Maschine is essentially a build of scenes and patterns, right? All right. Had to take a sip of water. Okay. I am in a scene, all right? And this is my patterns. Basically, what I want to do is let's build. Let's duplicate a scene. Now I have 2 scenes, right? That's scene 1, and I have scene 2. All right. All right. So in order, you know, you must pay attention because you can switch up things and things can come out, you know, kind of haywire. So now because I have 2 scenes, both scenes will play the same pattern, right? That's the only pattern I have in here that's programmed in what we just did just a few minutes ago, right? The trick to this is duplicating this pattern, or you can hit a pad and it'll create a fresh new pattern, and there won't be anything. So I'm hitting play, and you can see the line going, but there's nothing coming out of it because I hit the pad and it created a new pattern. But these two patterns here is what I have that's active, that have, you know, the drum pattern that we just programmed. Now, when we do it like this, these are essentially two different patterns, and all I did was duplicate pattern 1 to pattern 2, which gives me the ability to make changes if I need to. If I want to add more instrumentation, I can. If I want to subtract from something, I can. But keep in mind, if we want only add one pattern, I deleted it. We still have two sings. Both these sings, now go to sing 2. Both these sings will play that same pattern. And you say, let's add something else. And then you end up adding more stuff to the same pattern. And then if you go back to sing 1, it's going to be the same thing. So that's just something you want to pay attention to. Now I'm in sing 2. Sing 2. I'm going to duplicate that. Now let's go back to sing 1. And you want to make sure your sings point to the pattern that you want it to reflect. So sing 1 I want for pattern 1, sing 2 for pattern 2, or vice versa. You could switch them up. Sing 2 can actually reflect pattern 1, and sing 1 can reflect pattern 2. Depends on how you want to do things. That's the flexibility that you have. So in this case, I'm just going to keep things simple. So sing 1, I have pattern 1, and say I want to take the snare out. So we're going to erase the snare. Okay. Now, sing 2 still has the snare in it because I didn't affect pattern 2. See what I'm saying? Now, here's the other thing. And this is one of the things that I see people do when I see videos on YouTube. I see them do things like they'll have, like, in their pattern, they have everything that they have going on in the song particularly, but they will use the mute function and mute out everything and then bring in one by one. But you don't have to do that. You can just work the sings. The trick to it is hitting the all button right here, and it'll play from start. So the first sing you will hear is without the snare, and the second sing will be with the snare. 2, 3, 4. And it'll keep looping because that's all I have in here at the moment. So that's pretty much how patterns and scene work. I hope I explained that. Hope I wasn't going too fast, but yeah, that's pretty much how that works. Just remember when you building, doing sound design or whatever it is, just remember to go inside your pad mode and make sure you pay attention to what's being linked, and you know what link, what group number, and what's slaves and masters, and you know that type of thing, because you can go up to eight groups. There's 8 groups. You can, you know, link it up to 8, which is cool. Now because this first kick is the master, it'll trigger all 4 at the same time. But if I hit on these other individual kicks, it won't. You'll just be getting the individual sound. Okay, so just so you know that. I want to do a little something with this kick right here, kind of tune it or play with the settings. Now by default, this is what it sounds like, standard. But I moved it to the MP60, which gave me a different effect. Yeah. so that's the engine for everything in that sample mode, I guess. Um, let's play with the pitch, the tone actually. Now, in scene, if you want to take it off, you know, if you don't want everything repeated, I can have a bunch of stuff going on, right? I can have all these things, and I have projects where all of this is filled up. And then if I need to add more, I will bank over and continue going, which is pretty cool. And you want to pay attention to what pad you hit, because whatever pad you hit will be the next one. So if I hit this one and hit this one next, this one's going to come next, and then, you know what I mean? So we don't need all of those. That'll just be showing you an idea of what would happen. Now, I just deleted the second scene. Let's do it again. I'm gonna delete that. Now, if you do that by accident, it's okay. As long as you're in the scenes, you're fine. Because I still have those patterns. So now I always come over here and go back to scene and make my second scene and just make sure my pattern reflects the second scene. Go back to the first scene and let's make sure that the first pattern wasn't selected, but we're gonna select the first pattern. Okay. And then just keep looping over and over. And I can actually duplicate this, or, you know, duplicating will just make it go to the third pattern. If I double it, then it'll be 4 bars, because right now it's at 2 bars right now. So, you know, that's just, you know, there's a lot of functionality. You can do things totally your way. I love the Maschine. I still have people asking me till this day, is the Maschine Studio worth it? I say yeah, it's worth it to me. Coming from the MK1, the first version, the original version. Just the usability of this thing is fantastic. I love the 2 screens is a little bit bigger. There's color added to it, so you can see what you're doing. They added mix, so I can mix on the fly, like I was showing you just a few minutes ago, how I'm able to link up several pads at the same time, and without hitting on each individual pad, I can look at it on my mix screen and just go. And, you know, it actually speeds up my workflow in regards to stacking stuff if I was to do it this way. Now, sometimes I'm not stacking stuff like this using groups or whatever. Sometimes I'll put in a kick and start from there, put my snare in and put my hats in or whatever, and build the song, bring in my melody and keyboards, pianos, whatever the case may be. And then after I get to a certain point in the song, I feel, maybe I need to thicken that kick or make it punch harder. I need to add on to another, add on to it. And I'll go back and add on to it, another kick. 2 ways I can do that. I can repeat what I did, or I can utilize this duplicate button here. There's a duplicate button on it, and I can just duplicate. Say I want to do something with the same sound, but not on that same pad. Instead of going back into the browse mode and trying to find where that sound is, I can just simply duplicate the. I guess I could show you guys that, because I know you guys like, what are you talking about? How do you do that? Let's see. Okay. Excuse me. Say I like this sound. But I want to do something different where I want to change the pitch and, you know, pan it a different way or whatever, do something different. I can hit a duplicate, boom, select it, and you see it blinking, right? I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and select this pad. What I did was, now I have this slightly pan, and this one I'm gonna just pan this over here. And say, for instance, we do just something like, just wonder why it's so glitchy. Okay, so I'm doing something totally different with that sound, and I can even go further and change the tune if I want to, you know, bring it down. Okay, so I can go on and on and on and on, showing you guys the different things that I know. I don't know everything about this thing, but the things that I do know, I am still at all about it. I love it. I just love it, you know. So that's it. That's all I'm gonna show you. Stay tuned for next week. I have no idea what I will name the show. I don't know what I will be doing with tips. I guess it just depends on what question comes up throughout my channel and emails and things like that. And so, yeah. So same time, Thursday next week, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Remember, subscribe to the channel and check out the website constantly. You know, we're blogging. Haven't been doing it lately, but we're definitely going to be putting some new things on there, you know, for you guys to check up on or whatever. So, all right, I'm out of here.